Hello and thank you for joining us today. In this session we're going to be talking about how to set up the telisca global config. So in the next few minutes you will have a very good understanding. So if you go ahead and input the IP address of your telisca server and then hit enter, this will basically take you through to the default login page for the server. And with the login page you just need to put in the credentials of an administrator account which has local admin rights on the server. So once you're logged in, you'll be presented with the dashboard, and from the dashboard you can get a good overall picture of the server. You will have the services status, information system, license information, and modulars versions. So within each category you can get a good clear indication of how your server is working. You'll also see the last time the configuration of the server was edited, and if you have a certificate for the server created, you'll also have that IIS certificate information present. From the dashboard too, you can choose to obviously go ahead and log out of the session and then obviously log back in with a different administrator. What we'll do now is we will go ahead and we will cover the global configuration. First of all, we will start with the CUCM config. Put in the IP address of your publisher, followed by a backup publisher. Then next you'll have to have an application user created on your call manager with the certain roles associated to it, which are now listed on the right hand side of the screen. Once you have created that user, input the ID along with the password. If you next go and click on test, it will then communicate to your call manager. And as long as all of these settings are in place, you will basically be provided with the version number of your call manager that is running. Lastly, on this section, you will need to also input an IP address too for the CUCM Extension Mobility host, which will allow you then to obviously go ahead and save and carry on with the configuration. Next, after you've then put in the CUCM config, if you move on to the parameters. So we're in the parameters. From here, you can basically look to input the IP address of your primary server. By default, the IP address is shown on the right hand side, but you will need to basically go ahead and input that into the IP address of the server field. And then if you had any backup servers in place, you'll also put the IP addresses of those backup servers listed here too, so from servers 1 through to server 4. With the backup servers IP addresses in place, this will mean that the primary server will talk to these servers and then copy all of its relevant config over, so that therefore you've got a backup of your primary server. Next, within the administrator parameters, from here you can set who has what access to the server. So by default, the access that is in place is that the local administrators on the telisca server will have access only. But you can change the security group. So at the moment it's set to Windows Identity, but you can set that to AD and link your telisca server to your AD account and create a certain relevant group within AD, and then obviously assign users to that group that therefore will then have access to the telisca server. You can also create a telisca prod group and assign users to that group, and then these users here will obviously have limited access to the server if it is required. Next, we go into the CTI config. So you may require CTI to be active, dependent on what product you are using. In that case, if you want this feature, what you'll need to do is input the IP address of your call manager. You can obviously use the same credentials that you inputted for your application user within the CUCM config. For that, there will need to be certain CTI roles associated to this application user, and those roles are listed on the right hand side of the screen. If not, you could create a separate CTI application user, and then from here you would obviously need to input the user ID and the password. Within this setup, the the roles, the CTI roles are already assigned to the application user within CUCM. Once you've inputted the IP address, you can click on test, and this will then basically talk to your call manager. And as long as the JTAPI client is installed on your telisca server, which is done during the setup process, and the necessary roles are in place within the application user, you'll get a positive response, obviously saying that the test is okay, and obviously telling you which version of JTAPI is currently installed. Once you have set up the CTI section, you can see here from the services status that the CTI server is currently not running. You can go within to CTI control and basically restart the CTI service. And then once you've restarted that, it may take several seconds for the service to come up. So after a few seconds, you can now see that the CTI service is set to active. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. In this video, as I say, we've discussed the global configuration. We've talked about the CUCM config and the CTI config. And with these two options in place, that means that your telisca server is fully talking to your call manager, and that you can go ahead and then set up the relevant product that you have purchased from us. If you do have any other questions, then do please get in contact with our support team, which is support@telisca.com. Below in the link, there is a access to our admin guide. So within this admin guide here, this will basically talk you through all of the server setup in more details and tell you, give you a detailed description for each relevant value. Thank you once again for your time.